Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my worlds, the world of Wayne, and we've now got stage 25 of Hero Collector and Eagle Moss's Build Your Own Ecto-1. Then stage 25 we're going to be doing the horns and the junction box. Quite involved this one is actually. We've got the radiator beam there, we're going to be putting some brackets on it there. Then we're going to start assembling the junction box here, attaching that to the radiator beam. Then we're going to be putting the sidewalls on each side. Then we're going to be creating the horn. This bit is going to be difficult because of this bit here. You'll see that later on. And then we're going to be mounting the radiator we built in the last stage onto the radiator beam. We do attach a pipe to the top of the generator there, but we don't actually attach the radiator beam to the vehicle in this stage. Now in the next stage, just so you know, this is where we're going to be attaching the radiator beam to the car, and that is stage 26. That's probably going to be out later in the week, but this is been a really pleasure to build this at the moment because it's so big. You can see it growing every episode that you do, which is mind-blowing. So without further ado, let's get cracking. The first thing we need is the radiator beam, which looks like that. And just so you know, this is metal. I thought this was plastic when I first looked at it, but no, this is actually metal. But we are going to be putting two struts on that. Now the struts look just like this. These are plastic. Now, these parts are exactly the same. They're exactly the same part number, and they can only go on one way. Basically, we've got a hole just in here with a lug at the top. So these fit over that to match the lug and the hole. So we'll put one in, and we'll put the other one in the other side. They face the same way. So whereas we've got sort of like a straight edge down here and a more indent edge here, they match each other. These are going to be held in with DM screws. So because it is going into metal, I was wrong at the start. I'm going to drop some oil in there. I had no idea that that section there was metal, I have to say. Okay, here's the first one going in. Nice and tight. Let's do the second one. And we'll put that in, making sure that's nice and tight. We can put that to one side because we're going to be building the junction box now. Now the junction box is made up of two pieces. This one here, and then we've got the case, which looks just like this. Now this, again, has got a hole in there for a screw and a lug on top. And that's just going to match the same here, where we're going to put that lug there just into the hole that we got there. So when this is in, it's going to look just like that. Now we need to secure this together with a HP screw. So I've got one of those here ready. Turn it upside down, just seeing where this actually attaches. It attaches through the hole the bottom there. We'll put a screw in and that will keep all of this together. There we go. That's the junction box in place. Now the junction box is going to go onto these two holes just here, and as you can see, we've got some divots taken out of that metal part there. It's actually going to go in this way, so the screw section there is facing up to the parts that we're doing, just like that. Because these are at different heights, just so I'll show you, if I hold that in place, you can see it's going to sit in at an angle. That's meant to sit in there. But we are going to be putting these in with EM screws. And once again, we are going into metal. I'm just going to put some oil in there to lubricate the screws before they go in. Now this is definitely going to be one of these things that you're not going to be able to do on a flat surface, because the part that we're putting in here isn't flat. As you can see, it goes in at an angle like that because the brackets dictate that's the way it goes in. Put the next one in. And there we go. That's the junction box attached to that section there. Okay, the next section we're going to put in is the left front wall. That's going to be going on this side here, and as you can see at the bottom here, we've got an indent which is going to go over the top of this strut that we put in. When we put this in, it's going to fit in just like that. I'll show you on the side camera there. And once again, to keep this in place, we're going to need to put this in with 2 screws. It's going to be secured in with DM screws. Okay, so I'm going to drop some oil into this once more time. 1, 2. I'll load up my screwdriver because I can see this being fiddly. And we're going to get this in. Now, when we put this in, obviously we've got 4 sort of holes in that. That's going to face towards me in the opposite direction to these struts that we put in here. Going to go in just like that, and we'll get this screwed in. Nice and easy. That's the first one in. Let's do the second one. Here's the second one. Nice and tight. And then there's no surprise what we're going to be doing next. We've got the other side to put in. And it's exactly the same. It's going to go in exactly the same way to this one. That looks like that. This is going to go in this way again over these 2 lugs just here and here. Once again, these are going to be held in with DM screws. I'm just going to drop some oil just into these holes again. Get a DM screw loaded up. And we'll get this right hand side wall in place. I'm not going to put this in all the way, because unlike this one, it hasn't really got a channel to sit in, so I want to line up the other side before I tighten this up fully. Okay. 1 in and 2 in. So at the moment, this is what it's looking like that on that side, and like that on that side. Okay, so we can put this to one side because we're going to be assembling the horns. Now, the horns, first off, the actual cone sections of them, looking like that, are exactly the same. So you haven't got to differentiate between them. And this section here is exactly the same as well. So we haven't got to differentiate between that either. What we do have to look at is the 2 brackets that attach it to that section we had there are different. We've got one looks like that, and we've got one that's more of an L shape, looking just like that. So the first horn we're going to piece together, we're just going to take this section here, and we're going to be putting in the 2 lugs that we see on this section here, just into the 2 that match on the other side there. Kind of like that, so it fits perfectly flat in there. Then we're going to be putting the L-shaped bracket on first, the one that looks like this. And when we put this on, as you can see, you've got a little lug just sticking out there. That's going to be going into the hole that you can just see on the side off center there, like that. And then all of this is fiddly, trying to keep all this together. All of this is going to be held together with a HP screw. That loaded up, and we're going to put this in. No oil this time because this is going into plastic. Most important thing is just to make sure you're putting the screw in directly straight down and not at an angle. But there we go, that's the first horn on the bracket looking like that. We're going to do the same, exactly the same to the other side. Take the horn cone, line up the inner section here, the lugs. So once it's completed, it should look just like that and that. You must make sure you've got the orientation right, otherwise it's not going to fit onto the next section properly. Then we're going to bring over the radiator beam again, and we're going to be fitting the horns just to this side, which is the left-hand side of the vehicle here. Now the first horn we're going to be putting in is the one with the L shape on it. That's going to go into the top hole here. Now once again, you have got a little lug at the bottom that's going to help seat this. It's going to go at the top, as you can see on the top there. It's going to go at the top just like that, and it's going to be at an angle. So don't be afraid to put it at an angle. When you see the actual picture of how this is done, you'll see that it's put in at an angle as well. But that's going to be held in with a HP screw. I've got one of them here. And we'll get that one in. There we go, nice and tight. There we go, and that's the first horn in, looking just like that. Now this is just going to be going underneath the horn that we just put on in the 2 holes there. Once again, we've got a lug on here. It's going to line everything up for us. We can put that in. That's going to be held in with a HP screw. I've got that here, and I'll screw that in nice and tight, and there we go. That's the horns in. That was a lot more difficult than it needed to be, but that's in. It's just the orientation that you need to get right with the brackets, but that should be how that looks. Okay, we're going to be working on this side of the frame now, because we're going to be taking the radiator that we did from the last part. we're going to be attaching that to these sections here. So the radiator is going to be facing this way round, and we're just going to be dropping this over the lugs here and here, and we're going to be putting screws in which are DP screws. So I've got them loaded up, but what I'll do is I'll put a couple in first. I won't tighten them up too much until they're all located. Put one down the bottom here. Second one in. Here's the third one. And last but not least, I'm going to put the fourth one in. Just down the bottom there. And now I'll tighten these up completely. And there we go. That's the radiator fitted to the radiator bar. So it's looking like that from this side and that from this side. We can put that to one side because we need to bring over the car now. And what we need to do, we've got a pipe here looking just like that, which needs to go into this nipple which coming off the top of the generator there. And that's right, I said nipple. So I've got my tweezers and we're going to try and get this in. And there we go, that's that pipe in. It doesn't do anything for the minute, it's just going to stay there. I think it is going to be earthed into one of these holes just at the top here. But that is that stage complete. So I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Remember, you can still get hold of this yourself if you just go over to the links here if you're in the US and the UK, and you'll be able to subscribe to this from stage 1. But thanks for watching, take care.